With these words of admission, there'll be no submission. I've done the addition, and it's not adding up. You can keep all your conditions. We're not asking permission. It's our act of sedition, and we're not giving up or giving in.
Here we go.
Not yet. I'm not ready.
Here we go. We're having technical adjustments. Good morning, everyone. This is Snarky and
Such.
I still haven't changed my name on the bottom. Thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate you being here. I think I have my headphones on weird. Just one second. There we go.
You can edit all that out and
That was weird.
restart with a greeting. Right?
We're already started. We're just watching me mess around with tech. It's okay. It's life.
You can edit it out when you do the clip.
I don't care. But I think
Whatever.
maybe people like to see the B-roll. We're not all perfect. The bitch roll. So here we go. Can you hear me better?
Nope, same.
Is it the same?
Yep.
I think my microphone is really not. I'll have to figure that out.
I think it's using the mic in the Mac.
I think it's using the mic in the Mac. Mic in the Mac. Mac in the mic. Mac night. Okay.
Yeah, because that doesn't pick up any different. It's just hiding your face.
That can be good. Maybe serve as a buffer. Anyways, we humbly sit before you in our fall / beginning winter attire. Ron's got a beautiful sweater. Such has a beautiful sweater on there. It really looks good. I'm jealous. I got this old thing. My kind of ship nautical. I'll wear this on the Queen Mary, which we'll talk about later in the new year. We'll talk about that. Well, we have really not necessarily a lot going on. We're kind of coasting right now, but so I've picked up some things from the past. You know, I could do a whole show. Part of the show will be on some of that stuff that kind of got us hot under the collar, said the old guy. Hot under the collar. But let's just start out. Just kind of throw it out there. Hillary Clinton. I don't know if a lot of you know, but that's really what got me riled up and standing up and taking notice and saying, hold on for a second here. She's a liar. She's done this. Because I had read some things already. I had already gotten a book called Crisis of Character by Gary J. Byrne. Gary J. Byrne, I've mentioned him before, was the UD, stands for Uniform Division of a Century type thing for the Oval Office. And that guy's post was for 8 years outside of the Oval Office door during the Clinton admin or administration. And like I've mentioned before, he saw the dirt, the whole Monica Lewinsky period. And what maybe some of you don't know is the hundreds of other girls that Bill Clinton used cocaine luring in the Oval Office bathroom to have sexual relations with that woman. I 100% did cocaine with 17-year-old girls and loved it. Here's some background. These are the facts. These aren't like, well, that's a conspiracy theory. Well, where's your proof? Bill Clinton's brother, Roger Clinton, served 5 years in prison, should have been more, for trafficking cocaine out of Mena, Arkansas, when Bill really was the one doing it. He was the and Hillary were the ringleaders. Let's go back before that. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton met when they were in college. And they came together probably with some handler from the Illuminati, deep state, probably European factions that saw their temperaments and everything and began grooming them to one day become president, first lady of the United States. But she's a lesbian, never had sex with Bill Clinton. And Bill's just a philandering rapist. I mean, he's just, that's what he is. There's enough proof of that. But he's a Democrat, so they would never ever talk about a Democrat being a serial rapist. And unless they would like to talk about Donald Trump, and then they just kind of project everything that they actually are guilty of onto their opponent, but it has no basis in anything. They have no proof that Trump's ever raped anybody. Certainly he hasn't. He actually won a lawsuit for slander against somebody that said that he had raped. So he hasn't raped, because you don't win $15 million for something that isn't. So that was a marriage not for love, but for politics. And you might say, well, then how did Chelsea Clinton come to be? Well, Hillary Clinton and George, I'm going to say this wrong. I got the wrong. It's been a minute since I used to talk about this all the time. Not all the time. Good morning. You're at Walmart, you know. Hillary Clinton and, well, somebody that she worked with, George Hubble, William Hubble, I think it's George Hubble, and his wife, just George and Hillary ended up having sex together, which doesn't jive with her being a lesbian. But let's go further into Hillary Clinton's lesbianism. It's really not lesbianism. It's anythingism for benefit, for moving up in power. It's all about power for the Democrats, probably also a portion of the right wing as well. I'm not saying that it's not. But the Democrat Party was created, well, their founder was a guy named Saul Alinsky. If I went on the street with a microphone roaming a Don homosexual Lamon style, who's been fired, thankfully, so is that everybody that was on MSNBC, and all the major mainstream media is going into the toilet and nobody watches. And, you know, the late night talk shows are an extension of them. They're all being dismantled because it's profit, it's business, and they're not. Their numbers are failing. People are like, Trump's suspending free speech by getting rid of Colbert, and now Jimmy Kimmel saying, no, they're doing that themselves. People stopped tuning to that frequency. They moved away. We don't want to, if even in the worst political climate, we want to kick back at the end of the day and be distracted from it all and be entertained by something that's really cleverly done and have a belly laugh and then go off to sleep. We don't want to have more of it, you know? So that's why those ratings are failing. But back to Saul Alinsky. Saul Alinsky, if you Democrats out there, and I can't call you I call you Democrats. That's just the way that it goes. That's on you. If you guys actually knew your model, your belief, what you're supposed to believe in, your origin story and everything else, as well as I do, you know, we could have a conversation, but you don't. You're all idiots. You're as useless as the idiots that easily put a mask over their face injected their children with unknown elixirs. Millions died from the vaccines, not from some boogie monster going out there. And it was all a test for your compliance, and you failed miserably. Perfect. Congratulations. You are sheep. I used to be suspended for saying that on Facebook. I mentioned that before in a previous show. Saul Alinsky wrote a book called The 12 Rules for Radicals. The 12 Rules for Radicals goes like this. Whatever you're guilty of, your sins, your crimes, your thoughts, your most lurid fantasies, go ahead and project those and use your vast media empire that's carrying all the water for your message, which is everywhere. So repeat a lie often enough and it'll become the truth, because nobody will ever check it, because all those people are busy going to get their 18th booster shot. So they don't have any time for actual critical thinking. No. So Saul Alinsky knew human consciousness and the altered ego so well. He knew that people would do this. Genius, really. I mean, I got to give him propers, because, I mean, if you know this that well, you can't say the guy is stupid. He's not dumb. Well, I've never said Democrats are dumb. Not the leadership, not the people that are using propaganda to fearmonger their followers and voters into doing the most outrageous shit with never checking back. Like the same people that told us JFK was assassinated by a 3-name assailant that became a patsy, that became a non-thing, and then Musk bought Twitter and made it X, and then pulled up all the files and showed us that the CIA killed JFK. Okay, well, then we have 911 and we have other things. You know, we have election fraud in the 2020. We have mules through Dinesh D'Souza's movie, 2000 Mules, stuffing all night long, bringing huge batches of illegally obtained and gathered with no chain of custody to boxes on street corners with no security camera and no live person checking your ID, what you're putting in there. And everybody's like, well, where's your proof? It's like, we have proof all day long that it was fraudulent. And actually, the Democrats knew also that that election was completely rigged. A guy with dementia in a shitty diaper from his basement that said, if you ain't black, if you're not voting for me, then you ain't black. You know, I mean, he's the biggest racist of all time. If you go back to his 50 years that he prides himself on through all of the recorded fact pattern that we have that we could easily source. But again, Democrats don't bother lifting anything at all. They don't do any heavy lifting. They just want to go, where's your proof? You know, in a mocking style. Back to Saul Alinsky. That's what Saul Alinsky does. He tries to wear you down by mocking the message, which has no moral compass and no ethical conscience whatsoever. But don't look to Democrats or the deep state to have conscience. They don't. They want the destruction. When a Democrat governor or mayor or dog catcher or president wins ethically, or they get hurt, John Fetterman style, we don't go, oh, good, yeah, I can't stand those people. We have many evidences right now of Republican leadership coming forward with well wishes to his family on the news and the media, hoping for a speedy recovery. And we always have done that. The Democrats, not so much. When one of us falls or gets shot or gets imprisoned, or their beautiful palaces and mansions get raided, or we got big fat black chicks up in New York running just to get Trump, Letitia James, and she's all puffed up with her big fat Funyun tits, you know, and she's up there in the microphone saying, you vote for me, I'll make sure to. It's not that I know of any crimes that he's done, but he's the man, so I'll find the crime now. That's not how law works, but that's Saul Alinsky. They don't give a shit. And they pretend all day long, The View, Whoopi, Sonny, Joy Behar, celebrities, Robert De Niro, Meryl Streep at award shows, Barbara Streisand over there on Blue Sky, which I torment relentlessly because I used to work with her, and different people in Hollywood, which we'll get to Hollywood. They all are doing Saul Alinsky playbook, just the playbook. They're projecting all of their shit.
Right. To
Yeah,
point out
thank you for stopping me.
Letitia James, everything she went after Trump for over the real estate stuff that he was not guilty of, that she herself is guilty of, and now being, investigated and charged criminally, and then trying to whine that they've weaponized the justice system against her.
Oh, I know. Oh no, he's weaponizing government.
It's the Saul Alinsky to push on your opponent what you yourself are guilty of.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to know exactly what the Democrats are ever up to, watch 2 hours. Just take your pick. Just pick one of the MSM things. Their smugness, the expression on the females' faces. It's always the females that you just want to lob their heads off. They're just useless idiots. They're the dumbest chicks ever born. And they're just doing it, just collecting paychecks, Rachel Madcow style. You guys, when you hear that entry, the theme song to our show, Snarky and Such, it's a song I wrote, produced, recorded. That's me singing. That's me singing all the parts. I'm not really patting myself on the back right now. But in it, later, if you're to listen to it, you can go online and check it out. I go into a rap as well, and when the rap begins, I've got a lyric video out there. It's the only one I've got of it. It's a lyric video. I think it's the only one I've got. Anyways, I made one because that's how you do music videos. At the beginning, you present people so they can follow the lyrics along, and then they get to know the lyrics and it becomes more familiar. And pretty soon, it's an earworm. It's in their head. Well, I did a lot of that. What was it, like a year or more ago? Kind of around the same time that The Sound of Freedom, which is its namesake, came out and did. And, and I thought it was a little on the nose, but The Sound of Freedom, I think we were on tour, we were traveling. And it just came to me. And inside of that, I mentioned Rachel Madcow, and I show a picture of her because she has mad cow disease. It's Trump derangement syndrome. So I make a joke on her name, Mad Cow, because I love to mock Democrats. By the way, I told people a long time ago, I said, this is the way that you actually unfurl this, is you just go, if you know the model of that which they're operating on or in, you just turn it around and just don't take them seriously at all. Just mock the hell out of them. They can't stand it. They're such narcissists that they've never had that before, especially from a Republican. Usually Republicans in the past for the last 50, 60, 70, 80 years, when the Saul Alinsky modem was executed upon a foe, or in this case, an opponent, which they don't consider opponents. They're just outright foes. They want us all dead, Charlie Kirk style. They're narcissists riled up inside of them, and they wouldn't stop at anything. Hillary Clinton style. She and Bill, over the course of their political careers, had 11 different bodyguards murdered, and they had numerous other people murdered as well. Hillary Clinton and JFK Jr. were both up for senator in New York. 2 weeks before, I hear something. I hear a little buzz. 2 weeks before that election, oh, we have breaking news. It's so horrible. JFK Jr.'s plane's gone down, and he appears to be dead. Oh, well, we'll have to dig his plane out of the water. It's so sad. Oh, well, anyways, so our candidate is Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton became senator for New York.
But back to the Saul Alinsky, his 12 rules for radicals. You haven't pointed out yet that Hillary and Barack did their thesis.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. So a young Hillary Clinton out of, I think it was Princeton, was it? It's easy to source. And Barry Soetoro, who is actually his fake name is Barack Hussein Obama. They both had a hero. They wanted to fashion their whole political career after and around, and it was Saul Alinsky. So their whole game is to project everything. It doesn't need to have any substance. It doesn't need to have any thread of anything that, if you were actually to stop and go, hold on, I need to verify that, I'll be back with you in an hour, everything that you would go to verify would fall apart that they've ever said, in particular against one guy, Trump. Well, people used to say something about conspiracy theories and that we're in the cult. By the way, a cult doesn't have over 100 million people voting for a guy drinking Kool-Aid from one trough that all want to commit suicide. They always mention a word. It's supposed to rile us. It's like, you guys are the cult. Okay? You don't, again, very classic Saul Alinsky style. They want to frustrate you with that whole agenda, by the way. The Saul Alinsky modem style is meant to frustrate you down to where you lose your shit and you're cool and you can't speak anymore because it's so confounding what you're trying to defend. That's where they met Trump. They'd never met a Trump before. There's 12 different personality types, ironically, 12 rules for radicals around the world. That's what psychologists say. They say there's a finite amount of different personality types, 12. And then there's Trump. So he's 13. So this book didn't take care of this dangling outsider who, by the way, used to be one of them that they used to come to for support, donorship, status, namesake, endorsement, power access, and everything else. So he was part of them. So he knows them very well. He knows what they're doing.
And they constantly were asking him if someday he'd run for president. They wanted him to run for president when he was one of them.
Well, they saw leadership in there and they were like, wow, this guy seems like he's very definitive about his point of view. But he knows them very well. So when they try to use this, and they're so stupid. I mean, they have like the shortest memory of all time. But they don't give a shit either if you catch them in lies all the time. Like, it can be from show to show. And you're like, no, that's not what you said. This is not based on anything. They don't care. This is today. So it's them not caring that you really can't, you don't know. It's not a level, because we're dealing with like linear decency and common sense, like the way that humans back in the, I don't know, 50s or 60s, how we did for our neighbors and our streets and our towns and our barbers and our grocery man and the milkman. And there was a decency and not them. They don't want anything except for the whole earth, and especially America, to burn to the ground. They don't care if you all die. You beat them in a race and they want you dead. It's not enough just to go, oh, this is a democracy. And then, classic Saul Alinsky, they go, he's a threat to democracy. This is the most important election of our lifetimes. You've got to vote for Kamala because he's a threat to democracy, even though she didn't get one vote and we coronated her and just put her in place where the dementia-riddled Joe Biden had to take a walk. So, but you're against democracy and we've broken all the democratic rules. But you're the threat to democracy, so vote for us. I mean, it's absolutely just, it's supposed to really make you upset and angry where you lose your shit and you're no longer effective to deliver a message. So that's what got us going, and that's why we're here. We're two gay guys, married couple, conservative American patriots, intending what our founding fathers did. We want civil liberties for everybody and rights. But don't cross us. We have lines too. We are not pussies. We're not that kind of gay. We're armed. We have cameras and surveillance everywhere. We will come and get you. You better watch your shit. We're not those kind of passive pussies you're talking about. If you think in a classic way about homosexuals being like limp-wristed and walking around all like, oh well, we have to do what the group does, not us. No, we blaze our own trail. And just like that, I'm hearing myself back.
Yeah, you got to echo.
How am I hearing myself back?
Oh, your phone's on. Now talk.
Oh, I know why, because I was on the phone with you.
Yeah, as soon as I hung up, it stopped.
Okay, now say something.
Yep, you're fine.
Okay, you're in my headphones again. Sorry about that. Ron and well, anyways, piecing stuff together. Ron was right. We took a break there. If you couldn't tell, because that wasn't smooth. I was rambling a bit. I have a lot of stuff stowed up, you know. I do a podcast so I don't kill people. Well, we were just talking about some hateful mail that we got at our website. People just saying I'm like a gay Nazi. Isn't that silly? I mean, they not only go to take the time to type it, but they do the same thing that I'm exposing of them on the air.
Yeah, and they use a fake name and a fake phone number.
Of course they do. It's like
Yep.
Hillary, it's probably Hillary Clinton.
So like and it's probably some bot, who knows? But anyway,
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
if you have something to say, and especially if it's
Leave it
negative,
in the comments here.
let me talk.
Yeah.
And if it's negative and name calling, be a fucking grown up and use your goddamn real name and your goddamn real phone number, or shut the fuck up. You have no right to say anything to me or to David.
Yeah, they're all
throw a fucking pair of balls.
They're pussies. Yeah,
and that's what the Democrats always do. They resort to name calling.
Yeah, it's part of it.
If you can't be a real person, then don't bother and waste my fucking time.
Yeah, because we're laughing at you. We think that you're ridiculous idiots. Anyways, because you are. Because you've lost at everything. Like you got like you thought you had 34 felony counts against Trump. Those are all bullshit. He wiped you out. You thought you had him in Georgia with that bitch with her Mandingo lover, who she was paying hundreds of thousands to go and meet Joe Biden in the Oval Office, who said that I don't have anything to do with the weaponization of government against Trump. No, come on, you all are so exposed and idiots. So we have something I want to bring up that did come up overnight. It's really in reference to Charlie Kirk, and we really haven't spoken about him in any length at all. And I have a couple of things that I want to say. One, John Fetterman had this thing where he either blacked out or tripped or fell or fainted, and he ended up in the emergency room services. And he had suffered a really bad stroke. The Democrats still really wanted him to represent them, which kind of says more than not. But for whatever his game is, he does appear to be of sound mind, the most reasonable, common sense driven Democrat on the other side. So we, of course, because we're decent people, wish him well. But he was on this Katie Kirk. For all of you that aren't 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 190 years old, Katie Kirk used to be America's darling. And she had the big smile. And she brought you everything, like Saturday morning. And it was also kittens and rainbows. And now, of course, she's been, delisted, and if not just, thrown to the street like the Fagala Don Lemon, who's wandering around the boroughs of New York City trying to get people to say something bad about Trump. She has John Fetterman on. And she's trying to get him to say basically that Charlie Kirk's assassination was reasonable and easy to rationalize because he really had it coming. I mean, come on, John, and she does everything to try to naturally, you're going to be with us. Of course, you can't say violent rhetoric like Charlie Kirk said everywhere he went, just violence he was perpetrating. All of his message was hate and violence, and And of course, we had to shoot him in the neck and watch his head explode in front of his little children and his wife and throngs of 3,000 people that had gathered. Of course, because he's there for free speech, and Democrats can't have that. So kill him. Kill him. We don't like his message. Kill him. JFK style, because they ended up killing JFK. And Hillary Clinton style, she kills everybody that gets in her way, including JFK's son. So she orders all these hits. Jeffrey Epstein in his jail cell, she wiped him out. You know, she wipes out everybody that gets in their way. This is not new. This is what they do. It's got their fingerprints all over it. So Katie Kirk, with her little smile, trying to get John Fetterman to join in the chorus of, well, if you do say violent words, you know, you could be assassinated. And well, while it's maybe not good, can you imagine? Killing humans is sort of good. While it's maybe not good, we can understand. Got any thoughts on that?
Nope.
Okay. So, so what I wanted to go on the other side of it is
just the thing with
I
Katie
knew
Kirk,
you had something.
Yeah, just the thing with Katie Kirk. She's the most recent out of many. That
remember, we saw her butthole in a colonoscopy. She wanted to put that on the air. Yeah, no, she did. She's showing her ass. Go ahead. Don't get frustrated on show.
Anyway, with Katie Kirk and all the other Democrats who have said that Charlie Kirk spewed speech of hatred, which is bullshit. You know, all he did was talk religion and family values and talk about the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
But the people who spew all this, they say that he spewed hatred and deserved to be killed for exercising his right of freedom of speech. Then in that same vein, all the people on the left who spew all the hatred and venom
and lies,
especially aimed towards Trump
and MAGA,
where it's all hatred and lies and venom, according to their own words, what they say about Charlie Kirk, they themselves deserve to be murdered,
assassinated. Yeah. I mean,
according to what they're saying about Charlie Kirk, turn it around and aim it back at them.
Right, because this is the only evidence of anything that Charlie Kirk has ever said. Family values, within being a Christian, putting Jesus and the Lord first, loving everyone as your neighbor, and your country, and civil liberties, and that includes free speech for everyone. And for that, we gotta pop your melon. And we don't just do it like Butler, Pennsylvania style. You know, let's tie this together. Butler, Pennsylvania, for everybody that just come out of a coma, John Fetterman, no. CNN, of all the 2,600-ish rallies that Trump ever gave for the last 10 years, only had their cameras at one of them that were carrying it live. Why? Because they couldn't believe that 3 bullets missed his turning head. That was supposed to be the trauma or the explosion of Donald Trump's whole face and head on camera for the whole world, to let that be a cautionary learning tale and a teachable moment. Don't ever fuck with us. Don't ever cross us. This could be you. The voice of voices, Donald Trump. So don't you ever try to come across us again. This could be you. That's why their cameras were live. And the kid they're actually MK Ultra sleeper, trauma-based conditioned sleeper agent cells in these kids and adults who are lying in wait to be triggered with some key code words. It's called the Monarch Project. There's a lot more about that I'll go into later. One of the big cells of it was Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I was born. Gerald Ford, one of our presidents, like many presidents, was involved in it. and they produced sex kittens for espionage, and both boys and girls. And when I woke after decades of like wondering why I was overvicing with drugs and alcohol and everything, I realized I had been a part of it. So I have some really close ties to this. That's a great tie to what I want to talk about Hollywood. Not unlike what we're talking about here. So for those of you that don't understand what's happening or whatever happened or how things were created, let's take it back to something reasonable. I mean, it goes back further, but at the advent of television and then the talkie picture, or silent movies first, and then when the talkies, so they used to be called talkies when they first came in, like, hey, the talkie, you know, when you first heard sound coming in a full movie, because movies, you know, weren't a thing. As soon as that happened, a term on the inside of the profession of making movies and making stars that would transport you to another thing, either through their beauty or their humor or their the ability to memorize dialogue and then do it on command for a camera. These became the stars of the day. And the stars of the day didn't just come from the Sunnybrook Farm, Rebecca, style to Hollywood and then work their way up through opportunities and then finally get their big break and then like they would like you to believe this is really what it is. So there are older men primarily have always been in the Hollywood Hills that have these huge mansions and they have surveillance cameras recording all the time. And the cameras are in statues. I have a little ding on my finger there. Have cameras in the dental crown moldings around all the rooms. Sometimes like the eyes watching you in paintings. But others just, you can see the cameras, some you can't. But the point is when they throw a party and they have a young hopeful come to town that's really naive and green, and she really wants that to become a star, and she'll almost do anything, and he'll almost do anything. Anyways, long story short, too late for that because I'm wordy, right? They have the party, they bring out the cocaine and the drugs, always cocaine and drugs, great booze, roofie Cosby style. They roofie the drinks. Your inhibitions come down a sliding scale from that all the way to just being like completely coma, almost, you know, what is it, like propofol, where you can hear everything, see everything, you're operating, but you'll end up having no memory of it. So they do that, and they bring in these children that are minors that come in. They're also from the MK Ultra trauma-based mind conditioning, where they've been desensitized to this, and this is their new mission, these children, to be provocative and scantily clad around these men and women and politicians who come to these houses, and the cameras are recording. And the next day, when the star wakes up from their bedroom and they get in their car, their driver comes and gets them and they go back to their house. Well, weeks and months go by. They don't even know anything happened, like the politicians don't. But when they need you to put your finger on the scale of an election or something else that they need, and you kind of go, no, I don't believe in that, then they invite you back and they bring you to the screening room so they can show you all the shit that you did. And they go, do you think that all your fan base and your family and your church and everybody else that's common sense and decent is going to like you if they see you having sex with this like 7-year-old girl, you know, and tying her up? And no. So they go, okay, what do you want me to do? Well, this is Hollywood, and this is how they make stars. Stars are not stars. They were the original influencers. Now you notice the trend is, ooh, who's the biggest influencer? Interestingly enough, during the recent Palisades fire, Gavin Newsom out, the governor of California, and the Karen Bass, the mayor, who was actually knew the Santa Ana winds were coming, knew the threat, has to be on scene for those types of things, was told to get the hell out of town and went to Ghana, which is completely bad society, and was tribal dancing with them all while Americans' homes were burning to the ground with no water in the reservoirs or fire hydrants. And Newsom is out there doing jazz hands going, ooh, we're going to rebuild. And we got some really cool developers coming in here from China, and we're going to make sure that nobody can build again. And we're going to make it hard with permits and regulation, and everybody's going to suffer. It's like the demons love all that stuff. Ooh, yeah, we've done this. Well, Hollywood, I forget where I was going there, but I was going to say something about Newsom. With Palisades. So the insurance companies talk about influencers. This is what it made me think of. I was watching Adam Carolla show, which is a good show you guys should watch. I don't believe everything that he believes and stuff like that, and that's a whole other thing, but his intent is really good, and he's pretty brave. Talk about death threats. I should put a short list of shows. I'll mention them time to time, people that I think that are worthy to watch. Anyway, to get your house greenlit for, to have them first come out and clean up the debris, and then give you have you jump through all the hoops of the new regulation. California is horrible. That's why Elon Musk, one of the richest men in the world, moved his whole businesses, all of his businesses out of there and went down to Texas. That's why everybody's leaving New York under Mom Donnie now. And that's why all these blue states are going to go bankrupt and set on fire. And it's just, But anyways, a lady that was 80 years old that's been grandfathered in with multi-generations in the Pacific Palisades, that was their family home. They've been there forever. She's not getting a settlement claim because she's on the low priority thing, because they look at your social media to see how many followers that you have. And if you only have like 10, 15 followers and you don't post very much, you're not getting a check. But if you're the Kardashians, or you're some other Los Angeles influencer that has millions that are your followers, subscribers, and whatever, they got their check right away already, because they know that they're going to use that platform to out them and expose them, and it's going to be bad for elections. That's love, right? That's love. So in this Hollywood Hills, back in the day, by the way, just as a one-off, when Hugh Hefner died, by the way, he acquired the Hollywood sign and was maintaining it for years. They found under the Playboy Mansion, before it was torn down, right, Ron? Because we saw a thing on that. It was either torn down or heavily renovated. So something like that, and you'll look it up. Anyways, we saw the schematics of under the Hollywood Mansion, and there were tunnels that went out from under the mansion to like Douglas Fairbanks' house, a big Hollywood movie actor and star of the time, and over here to this person's house and this person's mansion, underground through the canyon and up into their houses. And that's how they got the children and the child trafficking up, and drugs into the parties at the Hollywood Mansion. And that's just one example of stuff. And I was in some of those parties, at some of those parties, and I didn't see everything that I described, to be honest, but I saw quite a bit. And unfortunately, at one of them, I also was drugged and would have a blackout until like the next morning. Didn't recall anything. It took a long time to unbury that. Okay.
Okay, the Playboy Mansion is privately owned. It's just finished a $10 million 5-year renovation. The person that purchased it is a billionaire metropolis who lived next door in a neighboring estate. And their money is from the Hostess brand and Pabst Brewing Company.
Okay.
And he has it now where it is set up to where it is a protected landmark and cannot ever be destroyed.
Okay, so his renovation must, I guess we'll see pictures and we'll include those somehow in the future shows. We haven't done any kind of PIP like a third screen showing
Yeah.
certain things. We're developing our.
The article said that it was restored and had some modern renovations added.
Oh God, it's going to be
Restored.
50 shades of gray.
It's restored, but then modern things added, probably like a new kitchen, probably new plumbing or whatever. But anyway,
Well,
it's now protected, so it cannot be destroyed, even if he sells it.
It was probably held together by seamen. They probably had to go in and do a lot of cleaning, I would imagine, with one of those black light things that see body fluid. Can't imagine the couches and everything else. Kind of like the Oval Office after Clinton. Yeah, a lot of cleaning had to be done. So, along with these tunnels that are in, and this is kind of a hopscotch show, but that's okay. I think it's kind of cool. I mean, we don't always have to talk about politics on our show. I'm snarky about everything. So, anyways, if you guys don't know, also to inform you, there's about 467-ish DUMBs here within the jurisdiction of the United States. And what DUMBs are it's an acronym that stands for Deep Underground Military Bases. So if you think that Hollywood tunnels are something of like, oh, it's a conspiracy theory, that there's no truth to that, let's widen it out, because there's big entrances, right, Ron, in the Ozarks, where not just illegal trafficking of guns, children, people, but legit cargo, and the supply chain travels. I don't know exactly all that they carry, but
we personally know professional semi-truck drivers that have delivered to the military bases underground. And they, because of security protocols and all that, they're very limited in what they could divulge. But yes, that they have driven semi-trucks in these underground tunnels that go for hundreds of miles to deliver to underground military bases. They couldn't give out any locations or any more information than that, just to confirm that, yes, they personally have done it.
And also look at, you guys do some research on your own. I don't want dumb viewers, I want people that actually know what the hell is going on. And this requires you to do some heavy lifting as well. You can't just be complacent. The reason why we got into this shape in the United States is because of a complacent population and citizenry. For too long, we just assumed that the people that we had put up to be to represent us, because they told us that they were going to, and we believed them in the run-up in their campaign that got them elected. We believed them. As it turns out, very few actually believe anything about what they're doing. They're just hopefully saying the right things to cross over the finish line and then join the ranks of all the others that, like Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi style. If all of you have seen the graph of this about the income of when they came in to when they go out, but I believe that the Clintons had I want to say maybe 85,000 to 125,000 net worth, or that was Obama, one or the other. And by the time the Hillary Clinton not only left, well, they got impeached. And so it was the last 3 months of their term, of his second term. So, or did he just serve one? Anyways, of his term. Okay. And anyways, this is true public record, very easy to source information, viewers. She ended up robbing the White House, everything that wasn't nailed down. I have a parody song of it on YouTube. You can go check it out. But anyways, we're talking, or I was talking about, I kind of get off on things. But the deep underground stuff, carries cargo, legit cargo too. Like everything that gets commandeered for bad, for evil, had its origins in actually real logistic stuff that was there as a service for the people. But um, underground, the United States and all countries are deep underground tunnels where they traffic children, mostly, guns, and drugs. And if you think that the number one most valuable commodity that's illegal that they run in these tunnels would be guns or would be drugs, you'd be absolutely wrong because you can only sell a gun once or a drug once and somebody snorts it up and it's gone. But a child, you can transport and sell thousands and thousands and thousands of times to very, like prostitution, to many, many, many people. So it's child trafficking that's the biggest return on your dollar. So,
And how many children did we lose under Kamala's watch's borders are? How many? 200 some odd thousand children
325,000.
unaccounted for. Where did they go?
Yeah, mostly sold into sex. A lot of them are probably dead because they hold them. They had to hold them in secret cargo, like intermodal, like train car type stuff, and a lot of them perished from heat and being abandoned, and the door never reopened. I mean, you're talking about 325,000 children. Does Kamala Harris give a shit while she's like sucking back the end of her box wine from her bedside?
She was the border. She was the
give a
border
shit.
guard that never visited our southern border.
Yeah, she never went. And
Laughed
she's
about it.
yeah,
And
and she,
laughed about it.
yeah, and she's so stupid. Like they're all stupid. Like they blatantly wear their disdain and contempt for the American people right out in the open with no apology, with no regard for covering. They never go into defense mode. They just double down, actually. If they get caught at anything, instead of apologizing on the air or anything, they just actually end up doubling down and doing it twice as bad, just right after that. So, Kamala Harris had these three black chicks on that show. I forget what show it was. And they're all sitting around, and Kamala goes into her ghetto girl type stuff, oh, girl. And it's like, you're Hindu, bitch. Your mother and your father have no black in them. They're white and they're Hindu. No black. You're not black. Okay, you're not black. You virtue signaling piece of shit trying to, and black people weren't stupid. I mean, and we, as digital warriors in the run up to the 2024, finally, with Kamala Harris went, hey, everybody, you're being played. I thought black people couldn't be played. I thought you guys were the savviest, street smartest motherfuckers on earth, and that it's whitey that's the gullible, passive. Oh, well, I don't want to say shit if my mouth is full of it. Where black people are like, girl, I'm telling you right now, that's the way it is. Well, black people went and they changed places with white people, especially during COVID. I still see the predominance of people wearing masks 3 years after the end of a man-made crisis, still wearing masks. And they're usually women. So the dumbest people on earth are black women. I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. They just are the dumbest pieces of shit you'll ever see. It's like, wake up, fucker. It was a scam. You always said for the last 100 years, not whitey, not after slavery, I want reparations. And we're never going to listen to what you say again. We're going to show our ass in public all the time and talk real loud and ruin your spaces because we're owed, because you enslaved us and our generation before us, and big middle finger, like, fuck you, And then here comes a white team of doctors and scientists that tell them that something is real, and they go, yes, master. Yes, master. I won't bother checking in.
And actually, Fauci even years ago said that what was it that killed most people from the Spanish flu didn't die from the flu. They died from respiratory infections from wearing masks.
Very good
The
point.
longer you wear a mask, the more it impedes your natural immune system.
Yep.
You're hurting yourself instead of helping yourself.
Yeah, and all along, because you're so fucking ignorant, what you're doing is you're virtue signaling to the rest of us that, you know, you're the do-gooder, that you're on a higher level because you're keeping everybody safe for your safety. It's like, it was fake. There never was a virus. There was just comorbidities that they turned, and they just commandeered the numbers from normal comorbidities for any annual year. The primary year of COVID, every year before COVID, 63,000 people in the United States died from the flu. During the year of COVID, 0 people died from the flu. But 63,000 of the million ticker that they ran on CNN every night, 63 of those were, well, it was the flu, but it happened during our COVID campaign, so it's COVID. There were even extremes, and you and I laughed about that. If there was a bus going down the road and it collided with another car, and everybody on board the bus, it went careening down a cliff, and everybody, a huge fireball explosion. If they had a temperature at all, or they didn't die from the bus crash, they died from COVID. Because every doctor, I know you're going to say that, go ahead and say it.
No, there was the true case where a man was hit by a bus
Yeah.
and died.
Yeah.
And the doctor put he died of COVID on the death certificate, and the family fought it because his life insurance wasn't going to pay since he died from an illness, but being killed in an accident, it would have been double indemnity.
Right.
And he didn't even have COVID, but they put COVID on his death certificate after being hit by a bus.
And doctors that diagnosed
paid, how much was it they got paid?
$3,900 for every COVID cause of death.
39,000.
3,900. No, 39,000. 39,500. I knew it was some kind of figure like that. Again, it's been a minute. It might have been 39,000. You're right.
You told me it was 39,000.
Okay, well then that's what it was.
Got for each death certificate.
COD, cause of death. Every toe tag that had cause of death, COVID, 39,000 to the doctor.
And there were multiple families.
What are you going to do? If I was a doctor, I'd probably do that.
Because of what they put on death certificates.
Yeah, I mean, they make the money, you know, they just print more money. So anyways, that was a lot today, but boy, I'll tell you what, I could probably go hours, right?
Anyway, there's one more topic that we did not cover, and we'll mention it, and that will be the top of our next show. And that is the Jew haters.
Oh, well, it kind of went hand in hand with what I was saying we'll
start our next show with that, because that I have stuff to say.
I just want to say real quickly on that is what we were saying about, okay, you can say Charlie Kirk's rhetoric rationalizes popping his melon in public on camera. Well, every single Democrat that has said Trump is Hitler, which, by the way, if a candidate was actually responsible for killing 6 million people and exterminating them, let alone collecting all their teeth, pulling all their teeth out, taking all of their businesses and hoarding all of their wealth, and then separating their children and then putting them into camps and then gassing and then malnutrition, and you're going to go Hitler, Trump, same. Okay, which we know is absolutely insane. You fucking motherfuckers. You're all fucking like demons. That's the hateful, violent rhetoric that you hope somebody would try to pull an assault rifle on Trump, which they did twice.
But yet the extreme leftists with their from the river to the sea, that means exterminate
all Jews. Right.
That is Hitler. The extreme left are quoting Hitler rhetoric.
Right.
And Hitler sentiments.
Right.
To where
Saul Alinsky
campuses that Jewish students were beaten and shunned. That is Hitler behavior.
Right.
So all these
on
people
American
that are
campuses
left are the ones that are actually acting and behaving like Hitler in the form of Saul Alinsky. You know,
based
do it yourself, but then blame it on the other person.
Oh, Saul Alinsky.
Yep.
Based on their rationale, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Maxine Waters, Adam Schiff, Gavin Newsom, Lori Lightfoot of Chicago, now the new black guy, even worse. Like they thought going from black to black was going to solve something. It didn't. They're all insanely getting kickbacks is the key there. They're all getting rich. Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan, Cuomo before in New York, and de Blasio. I don't know if you remember him. If you only will inject your children with big steel things and RNA blockers and destroy their lives, you too can have this very tasty cheeseburger. And look at these, look at these fries that you could get. Call now, but don't answer yet. There's a set of Cutco knives. If you'll just dial those phones. It's like an old Jerry Lewis telethon or something like, Timpani, Ed, show us the new figure. It's 17 million we have now. Oh, that's great. Everybody gets a cheeseburger if you'll just sign up. Guess what? If there really was a pandemic and you needed something like that, they wouldn't have guys on there like de Blasio from New York offering you a fucking cheeseburger if you'll just come down and do it. So all of that stuff is part of like, yeah. So if you're any of those people that I just mentioned, based on your rationale, us Republican conservative patriots, we can get an assault rifle and pop your fucking skull right on camera in public, and you should have no problem with it.
According to what?
According to your logic, it's open season on you guys.
Freedom of speech deserves to be assassinated. Then, if we disagree with what you say, then you have
you may be dead. Watch out. Watch your backs. Yeah, but see, this is the thing. We're not Saul Alinsky model. We're actually American patriots. So we don't think like that. We don't think. I mean, in some senses, in the darkest recesses of our mind, yeah. I mean, we've all thought, oh God, I just wish she was dead, you know. But we wouldn't actually do it. Where you guys is like, it's a Tuesday at noon. No, yeah, just take them out.
Okay.
Yep. So that's it. So we love you guys. We thank you for watching. I am Snarky.
And I'm Such.
Over and out. Bye-bye.
Bye.
With these words of admission, there'll be no submission. I've done the addition, and it's not adding up. You can keep all your conditions. We're not asking permission. It's our act of sedition, and we're not giving up or giving in.